we're going to review how to put an equation into standard form. So if you look at page 24, we're going to go over number 1 through 6. Now, standard form is ax plus by equals c, where a is greater than or equal to 0, which means a is positive, and a, b, and c are integers, which means no decimals or fractions in standard form. So number 1 is 2y minus 3x equals 7. Now we know this is linear because there's no exponents other than 1. X and y are not in the denominator. X is not multiplying y. So we know it's linear, and we should be able to put it in the form of ax plus by equals c. Well, right now it looks like it's in the form of by minus 3x equals 7. So that means on the left-hand side I have a 2y and a negative 3x. Well, I want the negative 3x to go first, the 2y to go second, and for it to equal 7. But this is still not standard form because right now a, or the coefficient of x, is negative 3, and we said a has to be greater than or equal to 0. So the easiest way to make a positive when it's negative is divide every single term by negative 1. This will have the effect of changing the sign of every term in the equation. So the x becomes positive, the a becomes positive, the b becomes negative, and c becomes negative. So in this case, this is standard form. A equals 3, b equals negative 2, c equals negative 7. Okay. Now, still on page 24, we're going to look at number 2, y equals x. Now, I know in standard form, x and y have to be on the same side of the equation. I can subtract x from both sides, or I can subtract y from both sides. I'm going to decide to subtract y from both sides because I want to keep my x positive. Now this is where some of you get confused. Y minus y is 0. We still have to put a placeholder on the left-hand side. This side becomes x minus y. Now the symmetric property of equality says I'm allowed to switch what's on this side over here and this over here. So I can rewrite this as x minus y equals 0. And I'm done because a equals 1, b equals negative 1, c equals 0. A is positive, and a, b, and c are integers. Okay? Now, we're going to do number 3. Now number 3, even though it doesn't look like it, is already in standard form. And we have to think about, the confusion is, but there's no y. Well, the reason there's no y is because there's a magic number that you can use as a coefficient to make a variable disappear. And that magic number is 0. So in fact, this is 1x plus 0y equals 5. So a equals 1, b equals 0, c equals 5. So it is standard form. Now, let's do number 4. Okay, number 4, 1/2 x plus 1/3 y equals 3. Now, this looks like standard form, ax plus by equals c, but the problem is a, b, and c are not integers. So we learned in chapter 3, to clear an equation of fractions, we multiply by the common denominator. So 6 times 1/2 x is 3x, 6 times 1/3 y is 2y. And don't forget, you still have to multiply the 3. Even though it's already an integer, the golden rule of equations says we do unto the left as we do unto the right. So 3x plus 2y equals 18. And we're done. Now, number 5, y equals 3x plus 2. This equation is solved for y. Sometimes the directions are solved for y, but in this case, I want you to put it into standard form. So I want to get the x and the y on the same side. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. this goes away. Now, the problem is a is negative. And if we want to change a from being negative to a positive, we divide every term by -1. We get 3x minus y equals -2. And now we're done. And then number 6 will be pretty simple because it looks like it's already in standard form, except for one problem. The problem is a is negative. Well, we learned just divide by -1. We have 2x minus 3y equals -8. And we are done.